mic check.
All right. Good morning. Do we have any public comments?
No one has indicated yet.
We're ready to go whenever you can get us up.
We are ready?
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, or technically, I guess it's now afternoon. Thank you for your patience. I'm calling to order the meeting of February 27th, 2026. Calling the roll, Commissioner Tremble. Here. Commissioner Marshall. Here. Mr. Treasurer. Here. And the chair is here. At this point, I would ask Commissioner Tremble to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. At this point, I would entertain a motion regarding minutes for both the February 4th, February 9th, and February 13th meetings.
Move approval of the minutes?
I have a motion for approval and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. At this point, we will open for public comments. We allow 3 minutes for items that are not on the agenda. Is there anyone present who would like to make, Mr. Valenza, if you'd like to come forward, sir?
Good morning. Thank you. So I wanted to talk about last meeting where you suggested I speak with the new administrator and lay out my complaint with him. I did so. It was 59 minutes long. I recorded it. I started from the very beginning, from my very first phone call to everything that transpired. At the very end of that, I accepted a apology letter, which I took the liberty to make some copies for you folks.
We got copies of those.
You got copies, okay?
Thank you.
Well, the apology letter, it doesn't address anything that happened to me. It's smoke and mirrors, it belongs in the shredder. Second, so the complaint process goes email, handwritten with timestamp copy, or verbal. That's what I was doing under your suggestion. At the end of that meeting, I was told that there won't be any accountability for the folks involved in violating my rights unless I make a formal complaint. I'd done it 4 times. I was on the agenda on the 14th, I did so. I came back again with 3 minutes of comment. Then I came back in again. So it's 4 times now. And there's no accountability, and they won't start one without a formal complaint. Under the law of Maine, I can do it verbally, and I did so, and I recorded it. So I didn't really get anywhere. I asked for 3 things. I'll accept the apology letter, poorly written. Second was communication training for your unorganized territory director, George Bushwell, where he can't communicate with the folks. So I asked for that. They said they would kind of look into it. And then a regular in-house punishment for trying to put me in jail, basically here in the office, and violating several of my rights. But that's not going to happen because he says I have to make a complaint. I think I did so 4 times here. So that's where we're at there. Then today I come for the meeting because it wasn't announced to the public. It was pushed off 2 more hours. So I'm at the speaker box. The man picked up the thing, never said a word, hung up on me. I pushed it again. I figured he hit the button. Same thing. And now I hear 3 people talking. They hung up the speaker box. I pushed it again, and it rang for several minutes. I waited for a staff member to come out in the hallway, which I saw 2 ladies with key cards. I simply knocked on the door, waved to them to get their attention, totally ignored me. Next thing you know, he comes out, he sees me, I knocked on the door, he waved, I waved, he let me in, and they called the police on me. Said I was bashing down the door when I was simply knocking to get someone's attention, like I would knock at my family's house. Filing a false police report's a crime. The sheriff himself was here, and he said he would not accept my complaint when I leave here. What is going on here? I have no idea.
Okay.
So that's where we're at today. Where do we go from here? Because I'm ready to push forward with what I had said last week.
Okay. Well, you are entitled to whatever steps you wish to take. if you want to submit this comment in writing, we are not going to discuss during public comment what goes on, but that's what I would share with you, is if you again wish further discussion on this and an agenda item, you need to file an additional formal in writing request. I understand what you're saying, that the statute doesn't require that, but
Right.
if you want to be agended, I think it's appropriate that you put this information on paper so those parties that are noted in there will be given fair notice.
Okay, so I was told about the Freedom Information Act. He wants me to submit them to him. As far as I checked, only the Director of HR is the Freedom Information Act officer for this building, is that correct?
Well, it's been requested that you provide it to the administrator. I
Right.
respectfully ask you to do that.
But there's a Freedom Information Act, you have to get tested by the state in order to become a Freedom Information Act officer. I want it to go to the proper channels.
You've been advised that the administrator will take that on behalf of the county and provide it to the appropriate person. If you wish
Okay.
to proceed on that course, then we would respectfully ask you to comply with the request of the administrator.
Okay,
Okay?
and can we set up another meeting, or, because none of this is being handled?
I think what I've shared with you is when you provide the documentation in a written format, and I understand that you are within your rights to ask that it be verbal, but we're
Right.
respectfully asking you to provide it in writing so we can share that with any parties that you name in there, so that we can proceed accordingly and put you on the agenda so we can have.
That's a
any
week's worth
discussions.
of writing, you know, that's gonna be 12 pages long at minimum, and I'm allowed to do it verbally, and I video recorded the meeting,
Okay.
so would the video suffice?
It would not, in my opinion. I think based upon what we're seeing here, which is evolving into a longer discussion, to
Yes.
respect your rights, we would ask you to put that in an email or a written format to the administrator so that he can both share that with the commissioners and with the appropriate parties.
Okay,
I appreciate your understanding of that.
okay.
Thank you, sir. Any further public comments at this point? Seeing none at this point, we will close public comments. Item D on our agenda is the finance director or finance department treasurer Moore. You have some items you'd like to bring up.
Yes, we have the tax anticipation note that we have worked out with the Chi Savings Bank, so I request approval of that
Okay.
from the commission.
I have seen some notations of a difference of
15.8.
15,800,000.
Yep,
Okay,
according to the federal tax law.
okay,
That becomes tax exempt up to that amount.
okay.
So we have,
15,800,000.
15,800,000.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the issuance of the tax anticipation note in the amount of 15,800,000?
I would so move. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Anything further you'd like to share? Before you, Mr. Trumbull.
No, just before the vote, I think it should be noted, we did go out to a bid on this process, and it was a very quick turnaround. We got no bids. Luckily, the Chi Savings Bank, we've worked with for years, worked with us on this. It's a tough year for the county, but luckily they were able to come through on this, and we appreciate the fact that they provided us with this financing.
Sure. And I appreciate the work of finance, the administrator, and the treasurer in helping to get this done. Anything from you, Brenda, or are we good?
No, I'm ready to spend it.
All right. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous of those present. Second item is the 2026 municipal tax assessment. Approval for municipal tax invoices.
For the tax levy to the municipalities.
That is in our binder, if
That
I'm
is
not
in your
mistaken.
binder, the last page, under that. So the county tax would be $29,009,406.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the tax assessment as presented by the treasurer?
So moved.
Have a motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Are there any of these towns with outstanding tax bills from the previous year?
Yes.
So,
Okay.
And how long do we wait until we take action?
It'll probably be paid in March.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second.
It's only one.
One remaining. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye when they have a moment to.
Aye.
Aye. Aye, it is unanimous. Katahdin Regional Development Board, Deb Roundtree, Charles Prey, and Shane Flynn.
She's done.
Okay, please. Oh, and Mr. Stanley, thank you for all joining us. Commissioner Stanley, you're probably familiar with the legislative tradition. when you
I've been
come
here
down.
before. It's all about.
We could have brought that up with Mr. Craig, but I'm sure he's been here many times, so good to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. We presented to you, and you have in front of you our suggested budget for continuing. And also, in addition to that, you had asked us to put together a collaborative outline of what the development board would be doing going forward. We gave that to you a couple of months ago, I think, originally, but I provided additional copies there. In the budget, the only change that we basically made was we lowered the administrative fee going through Eastern Maine Development Corporation. As part of that, we added some money, $7,500, to do economic development shows, to have, if we get the economic development office, somebody that could go to some of these other shows where they may be able to attract and some other businesses to come into the Katahdin area. We also provided a series of letters from all the towns. We have support of the Chamber of Commerce, all the communities, the Katahdin Collaborative, the Katahdin Chamber of Commerce, and a number of individual businesses that have all stated that they believe that the Development Board is significantly important to the area. We had an opportunity to have a small meeting last night, and I never know what to call him. Perhaps I call him Representative Stanley, Senator Stanley, Commissioner Stanley, or what, but he's got a number of titles there. Pointed out an interesting fact last night that had kind of slipped some of us for a little bit. His estimate is that over the last 10, 15 years, that northern area has lost $500 million in valuation. That's your budget problem. Losing valuation up there, you're losing tax dollars to fund the county services and stuff. Losing population, which is what we've been doing at a greater level than the rest of the county. We've also, at a previous meeting that you people held up at the Higher Ed Center in East Market, there was concerns raised about how the program was being funded between the TIF money and the in lieu and pay, the PILT money, payment in lieu of taxes, and it was suggested to reverse those. That's really your decision in reference to that. But every one of these communities, but the unorganized territory, provide services to all of the unorganized territory, and people, rather than living in the UT, are working in those surrounding communities, or they live in the surrounding communities and they work in the UT. It's a natural resource-based economy. The future of that area is based upon those natural resources. The vast bulk of it comes from the unorganized territory. So we would just kind of that's your decision as to how to fund us, but there's what we think would be the budget that would allow us to proceed and try to attract more businesses to come into both the mill site in Mill Market, the mill site in East, and the surrounding communities, as well as the unorganized territory. Since the last economic development director left, Deb and I have kind of been carrying the load. We've met with a few people that are interested in coming in. Projects, obviously, Shane can speak for our Katahdin, and of course, Mike Fisher was going to try to be here from the East Market mill site to speak in favor of it. Anybody want to add to my comments?
No, I think you summed them up well. I mean, there's plain recognition on this side of the table that the county is dealing with budgetary issues, and they've been clearly expressed. I think that Charlie puts it very well when he picked up the point that Steve made yesterday, which is there are two features of the northern part of the county that stick out, and they're different, but they're related. And that is, there's stranded energy up there, because historically, all the energy that was generated there was consumed in the area. And now there's more generation and less consumption and no transmission. And I won't say no transmission, no net increase in transmission, which is unfortunate for the area, and it's a challenge. Price of energy goes up, and yet there's plenty of energy in the area and it can't get out. The second one being the issue of valuation. It's obviously a critical issue. It's the top of the pyramid, if you like, in terms of it starts there, it brings in more people, brings in more taxes because of that. So not just the valuation for those companies. We've actually been doing well in attracting good companies to the area. There's a great deal of pent-up frustration and concern about whether things are going to get delivered. We understand that. We deal with that every day. And it's a fair point. And someone will say to me occasionally, well, they were kind of critical. I said, they're skeptical, and there's no problem with that. Skeptics are fine. It's when the people dip into cynicism, which we haven't seen, that it becomes a problem. We can get valuations to increase in that area, and we are. I mean, the salmon company's investment in the area is going to be at least 350 million, and that project has started. Following that, the EME biofuels, and I'm just talking about Millinocket alone at this stage, that one would be a further approximately 250 million, and they expect to start to do some work in September. So you could sit here and say, well, the work is done, there's nothing to be done now. But that's only part of the story. What needs to be done is to ensure that the infrastructure that's in the area, and I'm talking about social infrastructure as well, is robust and is being built up. And we need more development in the area. We particularly need more development in the northern part of the region. People in Bangor kind of look at the area and go, well, Millinocket, East Millinocket, that's the north, and it is relative to here. But as you know, further up along the mountain, there are other communities, and they really do need support. And we've got the people now fully engaged because of the work that you did when you came up and met at the Higher Education Centre. You attracted people into that meeting. They came to that meeting, and there was a lot of frustration that was expressed, a lot of disappointment with what happened in the past. We're not stuck in the past in terms of what we put to you. We're talking about the current day and what we can do. And maybe there were mistakes made in the past. I can't judge that, but I can say that we've got people on their toes at this stage, and we can get things done there. And the return on the investment that would be made from monies that are generated in the area, we think is a good investment. And it may be difficult to look at that with the budgetary issues that you have, but we think that you should give a great deal of consideration to it, because I think the value is going to come back to the county. Thank you.
Others?
Yeah,
Stanley?
Mister, how you doing? I remember we and I had talked here when you really went for this position, and I talked at that time about valuation. I always talked, I used to be a certified assessor, and one thing I'm really concerned about is valuation, what's going on in this county, in the rest of the place. And one of the conversations I talked, and we weren't talking very long, and I said valuation. Valuation is the key here. And look what we've lost. We lost the paper mill in East Millinocket, paper mill in East Millinocket. We lost Lincoln. We've now lost Old Town. And you had down here, Standard down here in Old Town, which we lost probably 20 years ago. But you look at the valuation of all these different properties, and look at the valuation we're into right now. And take the property, most of the property you put together up there, $4 billion at the time. I'm not saying for sure, I'm not sure. But you look at what's going on here and what we're doing and what we're losing as a county, not get anybody here, it's just that what we're losing, the valuation, what we're losing an awful lot. The more that we're losing, it makes it harder for you, it makes it harder for the community, it makes it harder for me, as a taxpayer, come up with the money that I need to make up for the money that's been lost here. And that's very important. And one of the things we're talking about here is the valuation. Like I said, we lost a lot of valuation statewide, or countywide, I should say. And we gotta bring it back. We're not gonna bring back 300, 400, 500 million dollars. But you gotta give it instructions. You gotta rule instructions and make this stuff happen. And one of the things that we talked last night with the governor, and we're talking also about the valuation that some of our good products are losing, a lot of products are losing, and we're gonna have some help. And that's why we're down here, got some help from you guys, we need the help. And you know, it's nice up there, go in, ride in the woods, and all that good, it's pretty. But the problem that you have, the big valuation that we had, is not there anymore. And the valuation see-through is going down all the time, because we're selling a lot of it to other people. And that's one of the reasons we're here, is talk about our concern. Our concern is looking at the region. I mean the regions. And that's key, because we gotta do this together. It can't be one town, two towns, two of them. It be one group, work together, and make what happen, make it happen. To me, the area where I come from, and a lot of these people come from, is an area that has a lot of valuation, or had a lot of it, anyway. You don't have it anymore. You've lost it. And what we can do is lose that, and that would help these communities in the northern part. Because the way I look at it, you get on the interstate, go from Holland all the way up to Brush Cow, you don't see very much valuation. Anyway, and that is an opportunity for us, the new commissioner, to come along and help us a little bit. Know what we want to do, because, hey, the most important thing to do, bring the valuation up and bring industry in. But what we're going to do, by bringing industry in, we're going to build houses. We're going to buy jobs for people. We're going to help schools. High driveway, Stan High School, it's 110 people. I got 27 people there now. No one the same way, they're all the same. And one thing we have to take a look at, do with that county together. Because how we can improve what we're doing, I'll tell you, that's the key to it. We lost 6,500 people to Rochester in Rockport County, and that's moving this way. Not here, yeah, but it is, but you guys look at the Bangor Mall, become the thing you lost here. And these are all things that everybody's losing. And what we're here for is some help. Very important, and I don't think the budget's that bad. And get some help so that we can do what we want to do. Because I tell you, when you start losing people, when you start losing valuation, when you start losing all that stuff, you're not looking very good. So that's what everything's based on. So that I won't say very much because I'm real freak on valuation. I'm really concerned with how it works. And I tell you what, you heard the set for Bangor, the people from Millinocket don't come to Bangor like they used to. And people from Millinocket, they go up north, they'll be going like that. The thing is, it's a big community, and we're all working together, and we're satisfied to bring everybody in the state. And I'll tell you, you take the 2 mill sites that we have in our area, whenever they bring up valuation, that's gonna be a big key for the area. The thing is, you gotta bring them up. And you take the valuation that everybody's paying for property tax and for sewer and all the other stuff that goes with that. Costs a lot of money.
Thank you. Commissioners have any questions, comments?
No, I think they've touched upon the key problems that we're facing up in northern Penobscot County, particularly in the greater Millinocket area. And I've had extensive talks with Shane on some of his ideas and the KRDB on how to promote this. It's different from what we had in the past. It's focused, it's reasonable, and I think it's achievable. The question is going to be, of course, funding and how we, and what part, how much we can contribute to this community effort, which will impact all of Penobscot County.
Dan, you have it?
You know, I'm very supportive of it. I appreciate what you guys have done for work to get us here, but what's the actual, I'm looking at the budget, what's the actual ask from the county? How much of that?
Hang on, eyesight's gone here. Well, and as we did before, this is a draft, and we thought we'd have some further conversations in reference to either, any of these. If you had problems with them, we could try to adjust. I knew there was some concerns expressed in why it came out of the KRDB board members that we look at what normal administrative fees were. That's why we reduced the fee part of that going to EMDC. The direct answer to your question is 167,000 we put in because we think the salary somewhere between the 75 to 95, depending on who we can attract to come in as the economic development officer. I looked around to see what the kind of a common, this is still a low number of getting people with that trade skill in. So if that's the lowest we thought we could go, it'd be 95. So somewhere between 75 to 95, but we've already lost, what, December, January, February. It's gonna take a month or so to, if we advertise and find somebody, so you could, I guess that's an annual salary, but we'd like to see a 5 or 3 year proposal where we could go, because we also put in deliverables on that and assessment. You guys do budgets annually. You don't program out that, but if we have a budget saying this is what we expect to spend over the next 5 years of trying to attract businesses, because Shane can tell you, or any developer could tell you, it takes years to get some of the larger projects in. We also, in the priority of looking at trying to help a lot of smaller businesses that can come in and set up either mom and power operations or somebody that can operate out of their home and do everything over the internet type of thing. If we provide that type of assistance, that isn't great valuation into construction projects that take a long time, but it's bringing businesses in that would hire maybe an additional person or 2 or 3 or supporting family coming into the area, which then increases, because they're coming in buying homes or building new homes, increase the valuation.
I would just add one thing to that, if I could, please, Charlie, and that is that when you get to the specific question, Commissioner Trumbull, and ask about how much for the county, the situation that we face at the moment is we understand that you have constraints, and those constraints are not going to go away overnight. So you'll have constraints next year too, and years beyond that. We have, however, a tricky situation here, because the previous operation of this role, or similar role, wasn't as successful as people would like. I mean, again, I'm being careful with the words I'm choosing, but clearly there was dissatisfaction. It is extremely difficult for us to go forward and bring in additional funds to cover the costs we're looking at here. But we are willing to do it. So we look at this as we need something today, but we are open to having funding coming in elsewhere. And I know that the question has come up about what might the towns in the area contribute. The towns in the area are very strapped, you know that. And look at the mill rate, for instance, in East Millinocket. I mean, it's the highest in the state. I think it was the highest in the state before it went up by 4 cents. So it's they're very strapped, and it's very difficult for us to go forward with a begging bowl there. You may say, well, it's difficult to go to you with a begging bowl too. But what I would say is we want to go to private sources for funds as well. Yeah, certainly we can get some from philanthropy, and I think that's very doable. I mean, the last number of years we put on, and Commissioner Marshall was at the last one, we had a summit that we put on. We brought in a lot of people from business and elsewhere. And we got some support for that, financial support. I don't find it hard for drumming up that kind of money. We can't do it in the first year. We can't out of the blocks. It's just not gonna happen. It'll take a little bit of time.
Commissioner Trimble, also, if you note on the bottom of that budget page with 167, we put at the bottom that in reference in trying to raise that additional money, we would use what we could to offset what the county would be contributing.
Yeah.
Where we could.
Right. Thank you.
So again, aware of your financial situations.
I got one comment. We've all been up there, and we've been there. You ride around, look around, happy new homes that you see. Don't see any. That's how they're not looking very good. And some of the homes that you have are going down here. They're not getting garage, they're going down here. And that's the thing that people want to remember is that's what the economy is coming out, is coming down, not going up. And by providing jobs and opportunities for other people is the key to what we gotta do. Because I'll tell you, anybody with a job, any kind of a job, can all do something with their home or whatever. And then get bigger. And what we're saying is, gotta make our place bigger too.
Thank you. Other comments? As you can well imagine and have seen in the news, we at full county level are facing some economic challenges. So if I understand correctly, your ask for this year is about 167,000.
Correct.
Well, to my knowledge, we've already committed the PILT money from this year. We've been advised by TIF committee that they don't feel that they could approve funding at the level that they have previously done. So I think what we'll have to do is take this under advisement. We've just today, as you've heard, secured a portion of the necessary PILT money. We really had a $35 million budget, needing 9 months of operating funds, have needed to internally borrow a number of sources. So there is not in this budget the requested funds or even a portion of that. So I guess if we're going to go forward, we would encourage you to go back to the communities, the three that you represent here today, as well as some of the other regions, and see if there's anything that they could allocate to this project to come back and give us a clearer picture of what the base need would be, because there's nothing in the cupboard today, unless I'm mistaken, to fund something of this nature.
I would just say, maybe you could ask the TIF committee to review this, because, I mean, the scope of this has changed from what it was before, so I think I don't know if they see this differently, but I think we should ask them to maybe look at this proposal again.
Yeah.
I do know that they incorporated in their discussion, they incorporated the patent in the areas north of it, which had not really been incorporated before. So from that perspective, it will be a greater service to the TIF affected communities when they include the patent and Stacyville and that area. So, and that was one of the questions I asked them, and it has expanded. We're going to have to go to the committee and see what recommendations they have. I did talk to the director about this, and they are aware that there have been some significant changes. So it'll be, I think we're going to have to.
And if it does qualify, maybe obviously we'd have to be prorated. Before, I think we used all the TIF money, and it didn't all benefit the TIF districts.
75/25.
Oh, that's right, exactly.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, I think we're going to find it, from my understanding, that as it's newly constituted, it would qualify, but that again is something we have to bring before them. But and then it's a matter of sourcing, fund sourcing, and that is going to be the problem for everybody. But yeah, I'm hopeful that the TIF will be the first.
Do you know when the next anticipated meeting of the TIF committee?
George, do you know when the next meeting?
We don't have one scheduled. We don't have a current application in front of us.
Okay. Approximately if we were to request this to be looked at, approximately how much time might that?
Well, usually it takes us a couple weeks to get everybody in the committee to find an afternoon when they can all get together.
Okay.
Would they need a more formal application?
I haven't seen anything that you have.
So
in front
maybe
of
you could coordinate, they could coordinate with George on the going forward.
Okay.
But
then,
remember, over the last year, we've done exhaustive review, legally and otherwise, of our TIF program from the wind farm, and no application will be accepted without them themselves having some of the expenses paid for out of their own pocket.
okay.
So 100% of 162,000 or 100% of 6,000, we can't accept it unless there's money coming from the group that's applying.
Yours is still a percentage, a couplable percentage cost of the proposed project, correct?
Right.
And that's predicated on the applicability of the benefits to the unorganized territory, correct?
Prorated by rules and regulations dictate we prorate. Any benefit coming out of that has to benefit the unorganized territory directly. And I understand there's an indirect benefit here that we can't overlook. But yes, but remember, we made those changes, so I haven't seen what's in front of you, but there needs to be some, they have to have some skin in the game. We can't try.
Appropriate for the KRDB would it be appropriate for the KRDB to make a TIF application and then at that point, when it goes before the TIF committee, to make an appearance and explore the possibilities of funding?
That'd be excellent.
If I could respond.
Please.
Or did you want, as we proposed in there, we would have representatives from the UT as a member of the KRDB, composition of the KRDB board itself, of which there in the past had been members who stopped participating. Only way to say it, or they quit, just didn't continue to participate. And we do have members two members from Patton, though that's an organized town. So we did have representation, at least 2 people from every town on the board. The board itself is a 100% volunteer board. There's no sources of funds. And we're going to try to go out and reach, but that kind of puts us behind the 8 ball again, because now we need to raise them up, because we got the news late that was going to be continued. We've got other sources that are in other areas, not to the KIDB board, but are cutting opportunities in the area. Businesses that are closing or programs that aren't going to be offered in another year or so, or another 6 months, 3 months, 2 months. And all of that's going to make it more difficult for us to go to the communities, which themselves, East Woonsocket at 38 something mil, county taxes are going up. They have other costs that are creating, I'm not sure where we can get the money to then appeal to use of the TIF money in the short time of trying to have something be effective before this thing dissolves. But that's just kind of I don't know if everybody else agrees with that, but I think it's going to be kind of a tough situation, and I understand your situation.
Yeah, I just wanted to address the PILT for a moment. I was not involved in the debates and more than debates that took place in advance of the PILT being agreed to. But I have looked at the record, and there was a great deal of energy spent on economics. And there was a lot of talk about the economics because there was woodland that was coming out of production and was going into an area where there wouldn't be any production, hence the reason the PILT makes sense. But there was a great deal of discussion about the fact that that money would be reinvested in those communities from that decision about the monument. So we understand from speaking to Commissioner Marshall that the PILT can be used anywhere in the county, and we're not arguing that point. But we would bring back to the commissioners that the reason that there is any PILT is because of taking economic generation out of the tax rolls and putting the monument there.
So historically, as I remember, when the PILT came, we became aware of it, we made the decision as a commission to put half of that into a reserve in the event it did not get approved by Congress, because it's an annual allocation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, out of that, a large percentage of the PILT was dedicated to this program for 7 years. Because of the financial situation of the county, we didn't keep the half that we normally would in reserve. We have allocated that to some of the budgetary items. So to look at PILT money for this year, there is nothing available in the budget that we could allocate to this, because we have absorbed the full amount for 26 into our county budgetary needs. So that's the part of the dilemma, is whether we like the idea and we respect the work that you put in, there is nothing in the cupboard right now that we can apply to this. So we're in a financial pickle, you could say. While your needs are certainly relevant and important, I don't think we can have a discussion about allocating PILT money that we've already allocated somewhere else to this. So it would have to be a discussion about what the TIF committee would approve and what other sources might be there if you're looking for an answer right now. So my recommendation would be that we get the information to George so that he can allocate it to the TIF committee to see what their consideration would be for the new version of this plan that you have done a lot of work on. So, I think you can see today, we're not in a position where we even have the financial resources to make a decision on this. So we've got to put together whatever pieces could be put together to help you accomplish this if going forward immediately is a priority.
Would there be funds from PILT available next year, so that we at least, if we're talking to others who would source something for us, we might be able to do something on the bridging front, where we get something for a 1 year period as a stopgap? I'm not saying that's likely, but we might. And if that were to happen, what would the situation be with regard to PILT going forward, given that, again, why the PILT is coming to the county to start with?
My observation would be until our newly created budget advisory committee comes back with recommendations to the commission and the full budget committee, we won't be able to answer that question. We have a couple of things occurring here. Number one, we've got to start to rebuild our financial soundness at the county. Number two, we've got to change our fiscal year, and we are going to depend upon advice from those who are representing the different county governments to give us the direction that they feel is appropriate. So I can't tell you even that we will be able to reserve half of the PILT money that comes in 27, if indeed Congress approves PILT money in 27, which it's an annual allocation. So it would be unfair to you to say, oh, there's a very good chance that next year we could offer you the portion of this out of PILT. I don't want to misrepresent county's position. I don't know how my colleagues feel about that.
I mean, it's a possibility, but like I said, we decided to make a commitment right now for next year.
Yeah, and for this new budget committee that that Andre's talking about, I've already got two of my three appointees, which each of us will have, 2 administrators and a local official, and Mike Mitchell will serve. So he's going to be an important voice for us on that new committee. So we will have an advocate right at the table.
But today, there's no opportunity for us to give you affirmative commitments for any county funds for this.
I mean, I think in the short term, the only thing is if there's any TIF money, because that money is available, no PILT money is available.
Step one would be assessing what degree or amount the TIF committee would recommend giving the new parameters of this program.
And then they'd have to have some skin in the game to get
Yeah, oh, understanding that, yeah, that's the,
I think the reality is, until you get some direction as to what options are available from TIF, we're not in a position to give you an answer either yay or nay on this. I think de facto, we don't have anything, so from the county level right now, the only option is to pursue TIF.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thanks for what you're doing up there.
Thank you guys, yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
Thanks, Ted.
During this phase, I guess we're ready for an administrative report. Administrator.
I just have two things here. March 4th, we have two tax abatement hearings starting at 9 o'clock.
Yep.
And then I have to modify the agenda, recommending modification of the agenda for George to come up and speak on an emergency manner with the UT budget.
Okay. And
That's
that's
the
the
military
delegation.
guy's favorite day of the year, March 4th.
that's March 4th. Is that at 11 a.m. start?
No, it says 9 a.m.
It is 9 a.m. I see it as an 11 a.m. notation here.
At this, the delegation discussion of communication, is that another item, or is that what you're referring to for yours? All right, Mr. Boswell, if you would like to join us.
Am I up?
You are up.
Short and sweet. You guys know that every year the Taxation Committee holds a public hearing and reviews the municipal cost component for the unorganized territories. Yesterday, sorry, glad I didn't think about it. The fiscal administrator from the UT sent that to me yesterday. They finally issued it an LD number, LD 2222. And it's going to be reviewed for public hearing on Thursday of next week. You guys don't normally show up, very few commissioners do. I got a feeling the Washington County commissioners are going to be there. You'll read there's a caveat in there in section 2. It's never been in a municipal cost component before, and I'm anxious to see how that goes.
This is the allocation up front, or of next year's TIF money to Washington.
Tax money. Tax money.
Not, thank you,
The
tax
county.
money, yes. I've got TIF on the brain.
You do have. But anyway, I just wanted you guys to see it and know that I usually try to attend, only to be there to answer questions when individual budgets are reviewed. But the fiscal administrator always makes a presentation to the taxation committee.
Great.
And we've talked to him at length. He supports our budget, so we shouldn't have too many troubles.
Approximately how much does Penobscot receive in tax money from the UT?
$933,983
Thank you.
next year.
Okay.
And I was gonna ask,
Anything you want to report from yesterday?
well, yeah, that came up in discussion. Mary Ann with the governor's office mentioned that they had made this arrangement in Washington County. I was curious if we, I think we should ask the same thing, maybe not before June 30th, but maybe in July. I don't know if they have to make it special arrangements if it's in the same fiscal year, but if we could get it before, when it's usually due in October, if they could pay the UT tax earlier in the year.
That's different.
Right,
That's money that's going to be taxed.
right.
600 and some odd thousand going to be taxed directly to the unorganized territory taxpayer in their bill,
Well, this one, yeah.
on top of
Yeah,
all the
yeah.
other services.
So I'm just saying, what do we ask to see if we get a county UT tax earlier than normal?
Yeah, I mean, you can always ask.
Yeah, it'd be through this, yeah.
But they send out their bills in August, and I think they have to have their money in, I think they have to have it in by October. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I get my bill in August.
Yeah.
So during yesterday's meeting, which Commissioner Trumbull and the Administrator attended and Sheriff Morton, there was discussions about the needs of Penobscot County. There were about 8 members of the delegation there, and they spoke to 2 of the governor's staff, and I think that's when the idea was brought up of what Washington County is being offered, which is an early payment of those tax monies, and it's coming through the UT. If that is included in this hearing, we may want to ask the committee for that same consideration for Penobscot.
So you may want to attend
Yeah,
to ask.
That's for the current year, right?
yeah,
That's for the.
Yeah, that's money.
933.
yeah.
Okay.
That's money they get today that they have to pay
I don't
tomorrow.
have to, give me that date again.
It's the 5th. It's in your paperwork in the back of that. It's the 5th at 1 o'clock.
March 5th?
Yep, next Thursday.
I would think it'd be great to have the commissioner from the district that has the most UT in it be there too.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
That's why I wanted to present in front of you today, so you could make your plans.
What's the time on that, Rich?
1 o'clock.
Thursday, March 5th.
It's on the back paper, the very back, the email on the back of that, the pamphlet. Anything else?
I think that's good. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for the information. We will, I'm sure, I put it in my calendar as well.
You wanna go down there? Yeah.
The next item up, I believe, is regarding the warrants. I would entertain a motion regarding the warrants as printed in our agenda.
So moved.
I have a motion to approve the warrants as presented. Do I have a second?
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous of those present. At this point, I believe we have some executive sessions on our agenda. I would entertain a motion, and we still are in need of 3. Motion regarding 2 personnel matters and a contract matter. Entertain a motion?
Yeah, we go into executive section pursuant to the appropriate main statute code for.
Okay. Is there a motion to second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is unanimous of those present. Thank you all for attending. We'll take a brief